Not even 5 minutes in. 5 minutes. I hadn't even found a bed yet. I hadn't built anything. I hadn't eaten. I hadn't crafted. I hadn't done a single thing right. And the game had already killed me, taken my stuff, and sent me back to the start. This is Enshrouded. And yeah, I had absolutely no idea what I was getting into. Let me give you the 30-second version of what Enshrouded actually is, because when I went in, I barely knew either. You play as a Flameborn, the last survival of an ancient civilization, awakened after centuries of sleep to reclaim a kingdom called Embervale. A mysterious fog called the Shroud has consumed the land, mutating everything it touches into monsters. Your job is to push it back, rescue ancient craftsmen who've been sleeping in magical vaults, build a base, master combat, and figure out what the hell happened to this world. On paper, classic survival RPG. Crafting, building, exploring. In practice, it's one of those games that makes you feel completely stupid for the first hour and completely unstoppable by the end of the day. I played on hard mode because apparently I hate myself. The world name, my first time, we set the tone early around here. Oh my god. This is everything that happened across 4 days in Embervale. No cuts to save my pride, no skipping the embarrassing parts, just the honest story of a man who nearly drowned in a shallow cave river on day 1. Let's go! Every great adventure starts with a hero. My hero looked absolutely nothing like me. After carefully crafting a face that will haunt my dreams, I launched the world, skipped the entire opening story cutscene like the responsible adult I am, and woke up inside what appeared to be a metallic pod with no idea why I was there. I was half naked, disoriented, and already questioning my life choices. The game guided me to a flame altar in the very next room. A glowing, almost living structure that seemed to want to communicate with me. In Enshrouded, the flame altar is your lifeline. It's your respawn point, your base anchor, the thing that literally keeps you alive in a world trying to kill you at all times. At this point, I didn't know any of that. I just thought it looked cool. Then I opened the map. Holy! The map was enormous. Truly, genuinely, absurdly enormous. The kind of map that makes you question how long this video is going to be. And then I stepped outside, and the game showed me exactly what it was capable of. Rolling hills bathed in warm golden light. Forests stretching to the horizon. Mountain peaks disappearing into clouds. It was genuinely stunning. Following the quest markers, I found a small campsite with a torch, which conveniently appeared right as I was about to venture into a pitch black cave. How thoughtful of this game to lay everything out for me. Inside the cave, I found a pile of explosive balls, and because I didn't have a manual, I did what any reasonable person does. I threw them at a wall to see what happened. A hidden treasure chest was behind. The game has just taught me that I could blow up essentially anything in the world. That hidden rooms, buried secrets, destructible terrain were everywhere. A ring, a glowing questbook, and approximately 14 wine bottles later, I was feeling very good about this game. Whoever had been buried in that wall had an excellent sense of priorities. That's when the Shroud crept in. In Enshrouded, the Shroud isn't just set dressing. Venturing into it works like a timer. The longer you stay, the closer you get to death. And inside it, the monsters that call it home are not friendly. Armed with a freshly looted rusty sword, I decided this was the moment to take my stand. I swung, I blocked, I swung again, and I died. Not even 5 minutes in. My ghost walked back through the cave, picked up all my stuff with as much dignity as I could manage, and went back for round 2. I looted them and kept moving. My pride was partially restored. Partially. Right before the cave exit, a small river cut through the stone. I'm not sure what possessed me to step in it. Maybe I wanted to wash off the shame of that first death. But as I crouched down to check the riverbed for loot, I almost drowned. In a shallow cave stream. On day 1. This was going just fine. Outside the cave, the world opened up into Lonky. Level up. I opened the skill tree. What I found was a constellation. An entire galaxy of skills branching in every direction. Warrior path, mage path, ranger path, survival abilities, crafting bonuses, and right there, almost glowing at me from across the screen, double jump. I was so distracted by the overwhelming menu that I didn't notice the rats. 2 of them. After handling the rat situation with considerably more violence than was necessary, I got to work doing what any survival game player does in an abandoned village. I destroyed absolutely everything I could. Crates, barrels, boxes, furniture, all of it. In Enshrouded, materials come from everywhere, and the wise player stockpiles obsessively. I was not yet wise, but I was enthusiastic. After I thoroughly looted Longkeep, I found what the main quest had been guiding me towards, the perfect place to build a home. So I went and gathered materials, and came back and crafted the flame altar. An axe, a pickaxe, a workbench, a strange looking club. I ran out of materials before I could craft a chess piece, which meant my character spent the rest of the evening looking like he'd already lost the fight. The flame altar, when placed, does something remarkable. It carves out a protected building zone, a bubble of safety in a world that wants you dead. The altar can also be upgraded, strengthened, and used to reset your skill points if you decide you made a terrible mistake. I placed the workbench next to it, lit a campfire, cooked a meal, ate it, gain actual stat buffs from eating properly cooked food, the game rewarding basic survival instincts. Fed, slightly armored, and deeply optimistic, I went back to pillage the rest of the village. More Shroud, more monsters, more careful fighting. I was getting better, picking them off one by one, timing my blocks, learning when to press and when to back off. I found an underground basement. I opened the chest inside with the excitement of a man expecting treasure, and I got rubbish. On my way home, I spotted a large rock. I wanted that rock. Man sees rock, man wants rock. Man pulls out pickaxe and starts swinging. 5 minutes later, I dug an enormous hole around the rock, discovered it was completely indestructible, and stood at the bottom of a crater entirely on my own creation with nothing to show for it. Then I found a fallen tree on its side. Naturally, I tried to chop it up. Hitting a horizontal log requires a very specific angle. Developers, I have questions. A pack of wolves thought they found an easy target on the road home. They were wrong. The hunter became the hunted. I was starting to find my footing in this world. Home. Build mode. And thus began my relationship with the Enshrouded building system, which is deep, creative, and absolutely maddening to navigate when you first open it. The entire day passed. Night fell. I didn't have a bed. I walked to the village, found one, and slept. Day 1, complete. Everything somehow better than I expected. Day 2 started with purpose. Wash face, drink water, stop dying. Simple goals. The survival loop in Enshrouded is oddly satisfying once you accept it. Chop trees, gather fiber, dig stone, go home. Craft blocks, run out of materials immediately, go back out, and repeat. I ran out of materials at a truly alarming rate. Walls vanished into floors, floors demanded roofing, roofing demanded more wood than I thought existed. Every time I thought I had enough. Well, I didn't. At some point during this resource gathering marathon, I walked past a beehive, so I poked it. I don't know what I expected. Back home, the house was taking shape. Floors down, walls up, roof on. And the moment I placed the last roof section, I stepped back and my home looked exactly like the face of a confused middle-aged man. With one eye. Oh man, this script. I crafted some lights. I needed cloth to craft a bed. I needed cloth from the village. On my way there, the sky broke open. I've played a lot of survival games. None of them made me pause just to watch it rain. There's something about the way the light catches it, the way it moves across the landscape. It's one of those small details that tells you the people making the game genuinely care. I searched the village for the last piece of cloth I needed. I was one short. One single piece of worn clothes standing between me and sleeping in my own home. It was not there. I swallowed my pride, I walked into the village, I slept on someone else's bed again. Some battles are just not won on day 2. I found the cloth the moment I woke up on day 3. I ran home. I crafted the bed. I placed it. I stood in front of it for a moment and felt a completely unreasonable amount of pride. After decorating the home with whatever furniture I could craft, comfort level matters in Enshrouded, giving you a rested buff that lasts longer the more cozy your surroundings are. I cooked a proper meal, time to rescue the blacksmith. The main quest pointed me across the bridge on the edge of a shroud-covered ravine. I walked confidently towards it. Then the game informed me very politely that crossing this particular bridge required a grappling hook, which I had not crafted. Whoops. So we did this the hard way. Straight through the shroud. Inside, I found something crucial. A lantern that replenishes the time you can survive in the fog. In a fog-based survival game, this single item changes everything. You're no longer racing against the clock. You're managing it. I cleared enemies, collected loot, pressed forward until my sword's durability hit nearly 0. No sword, surrounded by enemies. I looked at my inventory. I had a torch. When the only option left is to beat Shroud Monster with a flaming stick, I beat Shroud Monster with a flaming stick. And honestly, it worked. Then I went to craft some daggers. And with them, the most satisfying move in my arsenal so far. A heavy attack that sends you lunging forward, landing a devastating hit, then vaulting backwards out of range in one smooth motion. After fumbling for a few minutes figuring out the rhythm, it clicked. And once it clicked, it was poetry. Less poetic, a pitch black basement nearly dead when a horde of rats materialized from the darkness and launched themselves at my face. I will not explain further. Some moments just don't need words. What emerged from that basement was a changed man, battered, but carrying a green one-handed hatchet, which meant I could finally fight with shield and weapon together, and wearing, inexplicably, a wizard hat that I found in what appeared to have been a prison. I look incredible. I blew up their entire camp for the resources. This is standard procedure now. We don't negotiate with shroud camps. Night was falling fast, so I found a bed in a destroyed house nearby. laid down, and let the world reset. Day 3, the day I got the bed, the shield, the daggers, the hatchet, the wizard hat, the upgrade arc was real. Day 4 started with greed. Specifically, a group of shroud monsters on my path home that I absolutely did not need to fight. I fought them anyway. They obliterated me. Not a close fight, an absolute disaster. But round 2, I picked them apart one by one. I looted their corpses, changed my mind about which direction to walk home, changed it again, and headed towards the blacksmith's location, because the main quest wasn't going to complete itself. In Enshrouded, the craftsmen you rescue are called survivors, ancient people who put themselves in magical stasis before the shroud consumed the world. Each one you free brings new crafting recipes, new quest lines, new capabilities. The blacksmith was first. I snuck into his chamber, cleared the guards, and opened the vault. He was free, and in the chest next to him, an epic bow. Years of extraction shooters had built something in me, the instinct to aim for the head, steady the breath, and pull the trigger. Turns out those instincts don't care if the weapon fires bullets or arrows. Enemy after enemy, arrow after arrow. The bow was devastating, fast, and deeply satisfying to use. I also picked up a staff and tested it, purely out of curiosity. The damage numbers that appear were not normal. This staff hits like a siege weapon. A wizard build was suddenly looking very tempting. On the walk home, I celebrated by sniping a few sheep with the new bow. I don't know why, I just felt ceremonial, I guess. And then I came home, with loot, with a new grappling hook upgrade on the workbench, with plans for a glider, and most importantly, with a new resident. Oswald Anders, the blacksmith. Welcome to the box house on the hill. I built him a bed, I accepted his quests, and scrolled through the wave of new crafting recipes he unlocked. The charcoal kiln went outside the house, and I loaded it with wood and dirt, watching it begin the slow process of turning raw materials into charcoal for more advanced crafting. The village of 2 had officially begun. So, is Enshrouded worth playing? Enshrouded does something rare in the survival genre. It makes you feel like the world has history. The Shroud isn't just a game mechanic, it's a scar. The sleeping craftsmen you rescue aren't just stat unlocks, they are survivors of something terrible. Every chest you find in a buried room, every abandoned camp, every crumbling village tells a fragment of a story. The building is deep enough to satisfy people who love constructions, while the combat has enough weight to keep action players engaged. The skill tree is ginormous. And hard mode, despite what it did to me on day 1, is the right way to experience this. Is it perfect? The building system has a learning curve steep enough to eat an entire day, which for me it kinda did. The material cost of constructions are almost aggressive at first, and yes, the grappling hook situation on day 3 nearly derailed everything. But perfect is rarely as interesting as real, and Enshrouded feels real in the ways that matter. The beauty is real, the danger is real, the satisfaction when you finally sleep in a bed you built, in a house you built, in a world that was trying to kill you since minute 1. That's as real as it gets. Here's what we actually accomplished across these 4 days in Embervale. Survived the Shroud caves on day 1.
Stop the cap!
Built a base from scratch. A house that briefly had a face. rescued the blacksmith from his vault and added him to the household. I unlocked daggers, hatchets, bows, and briefly considered becoming a wizard. I crafted a charcoal kiln and laid the foundation for a proper settlement. I survived the wolves, the rats, shroud monsters, and one indestructible rock. And because of all of this, I'm not done. Not even close, which is where I need you. I genuinely had a blast with Enshrouded and I want to keep going. But this channel lives and dies by what you actually want to watch. So we have two options. Tell me in the comments. Option 1. Do you want a full playthrough? We keep going. We 100% Enshrouded. We see this world all the way to the end. Every episode, a new chapter in the story. Or option number 2, if you love this format, this style of storytelling, but you want to see it in a different game, tell me which one. Drop the title of the game below and I'll take it on next. Either way, if this video gave you a good time, the like button is right there. Subscribe so that next adventure lands directly in your feed. Oswald Anders is already asking what we are doing next. Thanks for watching.